Welcome back, happy hookers, and welcome to day 2 of 12 days of coasters. Very excited. Really excited to hear if you've watched the first video, which was the crochet heart. I have that here nicely on the side, ready to put my cup of tea on. So the fringed crochet coaster. Now you might recognize the image from this because I did actually already post the video on how to do the fringing, but I had so many comments about how I created the center coaster that I thought it would be a great opportunity to show you today how to create this working in a spiral, which makes it really, really easy. Now this is, as I mentioned at the end of the video, which is funny because I've already filmed the end of the video, you know, feel like Marty McFly back in time, is 21 centimeters wide. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the fundamentals of how to do this single crochet increase in the spiral. I'm going to take you up to just about a coaster size, and then I'm going to give you some really handy techniques on how you can continue to make this as big as you want. And that's what Crochet & Tea is all about, empowering you and giving you the tools to make something useful and beautiful. So let's get started. Okay, so this circle is going to be a continuous spiral. Now I really enjoy the continuous spiral, but it does require you to add one extra step in, because you're not only having to count and make sure that you're putting your increases in, or the right number of increases versus stitches in the same row, but you have to make sure that you know when you're getting to the end of a round, because you're not doing a join. So for that I employ a long piece of contrasting yarn to help me with this. So we're going to start with a magic circle, and if you're unfamiliar with the magic circle, you are new to crocheting, I would recommend checking out a longer video on that, which I'll link above. However, you can chain 3, join the chain of 3 together in a circle, and then simply start placing your stitches into that circle. So my magic circle, I'll do a speedier version here. I lay it over my 2 fingers like this, bring it back around, cross it over the front, going underneath the bottom yarn and pulling the top one through like so. I'm then spinning around to give myself this loop, which I then use to grab again the same piece of yarn that I can then split and make a mess on camera. Now I can rescue it, that I can then pull through, can you see, so that I've got a slip knot on my magic circle. But like I say, I do have a longer video, but if you want to see it in a little bit more depth. So regardless of whether you've made a magic circle or whether you've crocheted 3 or even 4, join them together to form a loop. What you're going to need to start with is 6 single crochets in the very center. So ignoring this one, we're going to place 6 single crochets into the center. So 2, 3, this is the bit I probably should have pulled some more yarn free before we started filming, but never goes to plan. Okay. 4, 5, 6. Okay, we've got 6. I've crocheted them a little bit loose because I often crochet them far too tight, and then I do really struggle to get my hook into them. So now we're going to pull our magic circle. I'm just going to give myself a little bit more on that. I'm going to pull our magic circle closed with the magical noise in our brains as it closes. And don't feel you have to pull it all the way tight on this very first close. Often what I do is I pull it relatively tight, make sure I've got my next stitch in place before I really give it, you know, a good yank to close it. So we're not going to slip stitch to join together if you're familiar with circles, because this is a continuous spiral. So I am going to just crochet straight into this first stitch. Now what I need to do is then make sure that I've got a stitch marker in place so I know where the beginning is. You can choose to either marker the last stitch on the round, or you can choose to marker the first stitch on the round. It really doesn't matter, just so long as you do remember, oh, my marker's here, this is my last one of the round, or my marker's here, this is the first one of the round. Now with this one, I'm going to choose to marker the last one of the round. So I'm going to take my hook, I'm going to insert it in there, I'm going to take my contrasting piece of yarn, and I'm simply going to pull it through and pull it through so that I've got one end sticking out either side like so, and I'm just going to leave it, and in fact that's going to stay in for the duration of the circle. All we're going to do is re-loop every single circle this one more time. So if you've never done a circle before, think of it as a pie, and however many stitches that we place at the very beginning are the sections of that pie. So because we've got a starting circle of 6 here, 6 is generally what we use for the single crochet, we have got 6 sections. Every row, every round, we will be putting 1 increase in every section. That's as simple as it, that's the maths. The other bit's just a simple case of counting. So because we're at the very beginning and we need to put an increase in every stitch in the section, we need to put an increase in every single one of these. All 6 need an increase. So we're going to place 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, and I've actually just gone and split my stitch. Can you see there? If you do split your stitch, don't be afraid to just pull it down and work out how and why. In fact, I think I actually split it here when I joined, and that was the problem. So I'm going to go back and make sure I properly pick up both of those underneath. So 1 into the same stitch, 2, 1, I can hear my cat. Hear my cat going bloop. She's going crazy on the stairs. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that's correct because, can you remember, I'm using my marker, get some more yarn to show me where my last stitch goes. So I know that my 11 and my 12 are going to go here. So don't worry about this coral yarn, just move it out the way, insert your hook and just crochet as if it wasn't even there for 12. Awesome. So what we need to do now is take a hook out, insert our hook into that last stitch, picking up our contrasting yarn, pulling it through and leaving it there, and then we know that we're ready to go with our next row. So the maths is, for this round, we've got 2 stitches in every section, and we need to pop an increase in one and then just 1 in the other. So increase 1, increase 1, increase 1, increase 1. So we'll pop our increase, and our 1, and our increase, and our 1, our increase, and our 1. It's quite nice that you don't need to necessarily count, you've just got to make sure you're keeping to your pattern. So an increase and a 1, an increase. Apologies if I'm going a little bit too fast, I will pause at the end of the row. Essentially just make sure you're putting an increase and 1 single crochet, an increase and a 1. Now I need to just do a count up here. So increase 1, increase 1, increase 1, increase. Can you see here I actually ended up putting a 2 in, and I'm going to leave this on camera because I think it's really important to show that even I make mistakes, because I know that I should have 2 stitches left at this point. 2 stitches left and I've only got 1, but it was very easy for me to spot. Can you see I've got an increase here, and then unfortunately I have an increase here, so all I'm going to do, there we go, perfect, I'm back to where I should be. So increase 1 and increase and 1. And if you're good at maths, you'll have then realised that we've got 6 sections which now have 3 stitches in, 3 stitches in each, 3 sixes, so we've got a row, a finishing round of 18. So let's pull that coral yarn through, capturing our last stitch, ready for our next round. So again with this, we've got 6 sections, 3 stitches currently in each section, and we need to make sure we just put 1 increase. So this time it's going to be an increase, and then it's going to be 2 single crochets straight after that. So 1. Ooh, my whole ball came with me then. So 1, 2, and then an increase. And essentially that's how it works. You will just always be increasing the number of single crochets that follow after your increase by 1 when you're working in a round. So I'm just going to check that I'm on track. I would always recommend doing that. So we've got 2, and then my 2 singles, my increase, my 2 singles, my increase, my 2 singles, my increase, my singles. Every time I say my singles, I just keep thinking of Beyonce now, all my single stitches. Somebody who is a hardcore Beyonce crochet fan should definitely do a parody of all my single ladies with all my single crochets. Is that a little bit nerdy? Possibly is. Okay, so I know now that I have again got to double check, and this is going to be very embarrassing if I'm on camera having gone wrong again. So 2, my 2 singles, 2, my 2 singles, 2, my 2 singles, 2, my 2 singles, 2, my 2 singles. No, that's absolutely fine. So are we ready for it? The final increase and the final 2 stitches, bringing us nicely round to the place where our marker is. I'm going to take out, I'm going to pull my marker. Can you see how handy it is just keeping this yarn in? It also helps to be able to show you, you know, that you're in the same, it is definitely happening at the same point as well. I think it's a really nice technique to have this. Plus, stitch markers, they can fall out no matter how good quality they are. I mean, even these ones, which very rarely fall out, still can. This is going to take some tugging to fall out. So we've got 4 stitches in each section of 6, which means we're on to 24 stitches. So we've only got 1 more round to go until we hit our 30 stitch for this the base of our Christmas tree. Moomin, Mummy's filming. Okay, so this time we're going to increase Then we're going to do 1, 2, 3, because we want 5 in each section. So we've got an increase which gives us 2, and then 1, 2, 3. A little bit more yarn. So increase, increase, single, 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 increase, increase, 3 single crochets in, increase, 3 single crochets. Does anyone use a yarn bowl? I've heard good things. It just came to my mind as as my yarn comes flying under the camera. 3 single crochets. Okay, so increase, last one, 3 single. She says increase. I didn't actually do the increase. That's how easy it is to get distracted. If only I wasn't such a all over the place YouTuber that likes to just chit chat to my audience as I'm crocheting along. There we go, 3 single crochets. I probably wouldn't make mistakes on camera, and then everyone will think, wow, what a crazy. Okay, so we've got our 6 sections. Can you see what I mean about them starting to look a little bit like a hexagon, because I've got my increases all in the same section? Oh, the cat is really meowing. Very easily, a little bit of blocking, that is going to turn into a circle. That is not going to be an issue in the slightest. There we go. Can you see I've already managed to disguise most of them? So it's at this point you've got a couple of options. Well, not necessarily at this point, but you can choose to add possibly 2 more rows, and that's going to make it a nice coaster size, I would say. Yeah, because if you're going to fringe it, we're not going to want it too large, are we? We only need actually the base of a cup to be able to sit in the centre, like so. So I would say 2 more rows, and that's absolutely fine. So this is where I'm not going to finish these 2 rows with you. I am going to actually, and that's not about being lazy, I'm actually going to now leave you with a really good, sorry, I just hit the camera, a really good technique so that you can take it even bigger if you would like, and make it this big, which, you know, I have a vase on, and this is quite a large. Let me just measure in diameter. This is 13 centimetres in the centre and a good 21 edge to edge. So 2 more rows. If I sit with you for 2 more rows, yes, you'll get the end of, you'll get to a coaster. But what if you want to go bigger? I mean, you could scale your hook up, you could scale your yarn up, and you could make this into a rug. Do you know what I mean? Crocheting Tea is about giving you the tools to understand how to crochet, not just to hit the camera again, not just to blindly crochet along without understanding the fundamentals, and that is the cornerstone of this channel. So I would grab yourself a notebook, and we are on 30, aren't we? And I know that we've got 5 in each section. Yeah, and that's made up of an increase and 3 singles. So I would just go down like this. I know that I need to have 6 in next section because I need to have 36 in the next row. So it's going to be an increase and 4 single crochets. Okay, then it's going to be an increase and 5 single crochets. Doesn't help that my 5 and my S's look exactly the same. 5 single crochets. That's going to take us to 42 stitches. Do you see where I'm going with this? Then I'm going to have an increase and 6 single crochets, because that's then going to take me to 48, because I've got here my 6 times, my 6 times, my 6 times, my 6 times. This is the number of stitches that you're aiming for in each section. You've always got 6 in each section because you did 6 single crochets to start. I can't tell you how far this is. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I've got 11 in mine, which is going to probably be 9. So that's going to be an increase and 9 single crochets. I mean, wow, that's giving me 11. 11 times 6. It's a good job it's an 11 because I'm not the best at my times table. So I know I went to 66 and then I started fringing. Okay, so I hope that helps. I want you to be able to make this circle as big as you want. Make it big enough to fit in the whole of your lounge, or make 4 and pop some drinks on them. Fantastic. So the next thing to do at the end of this video is hop over onto how to do the fringing, and if you're a big fan of ASMR videos, then you're going to absolutely love the technique for creating this crochet fringe. So thank you ever so much for watching. Please do give this video a thumbs up. It really does help the channel. Essentially, it tells other people that you liked it and they might like it, and it helps just absolutely spread the word across YouTube. Tag me over on Instagram if you've got anything that you've made at Crochet and Tea. I do respond to all my comments and direct messages, and I'd love to hear from you. Happy hooking, and see you in a couple of days for day 3 of 12 days of crochet coasters. Happy hooking. Bye.